When it comes to a ski trip out west, Idaho probably isn't the first place that comes to mind, but Sun Valley has always been a notable exception, having operated continuously for nearly 90 years, giving it a longer track record than every other Rockies destination mountain that's over 1,000 acres in size. The resort has changed significantly over time. It's even shifted location before, but one thing's for sure, Sun Valley has retained a loyal following from dedicated guests for decades. It's also much more remote than many of its competitors, which raises the question, is the experience actually worth the hype? Well, in this video, we'll go through Sun Valley's overall mountain experience, and then we'll go through how the resort stacks up in our overall rankings. Before we jump in, we've got a ton of PeakHouse trips coming up this summer and winter, both domestically and internationally. If you've been waiting forever for your friends to finally pull the trigger on that dream trip, just come with us instead. You can find all the details in the description below, and if you want early access to new trips as they're announced, and updates on informal meetups, be sure to join our Circle community, which is also linked in that description. With that all being said, let's jump in. Unlike most American destination resorts, Sun Valley actually consists of two physically separate terrain areas, Bald Mountain and Dollar Mountain. Bald Mountain hosts the vast majority of Sun Valley's terrain, and for most guests, all of their time skiing and riding will be spent here. While moderate in size compared to some destination resorts, Sun Valley's Bald Mountain offers varied terrain across its footprint. Lower and mid-mountain terrain is chiefly below treeline, mainly consisting of tree-defined trails and glades. In the uppermost reaches of the resort, the very top of Bald Mountain hosts some high alpine bowl terrain. Sun Valley's Dollar Mountain caters almost entirely to beginners. This area was actually the primary part of Sun Valley's ski resort through the late 1930s, but as the resort grew, management felt it needed to move to a bigger and better location to attract a wider range of clientele. At 189 acres and 650 vertical feet, the mountain is about as short as it gets for Idaho. However, it's also one of the coolest looking mountains in the country, featuring an entirely treeless footprint, making the area essentially into one giant bowl with only rope lines and some rock formations separating many of the trails. This topography also makes the naming conventions between Bald and Dollar Mountain incredibly confusing, as Bald Mountain is the one that has trees, while Dollar Mountain is actually the one that doesn't. Sun Valley has attracted visitors for years thanks to its luxury bona fides, and this becomes immediately apparent as you step into one of the resort's many on-mountain lodges. These facilities are some of the highest caliber in the business, boasting fancy carpets, throne-like couch seating, fantastic views, and just an overall grandiose ambiance that makes you feel like royalty. And despite the unmistakably affluent atmosphere, it's not like these buildings feel overly built up or commercialized. It's worth noting that the centrally located Lookout and Roundhouse lodges are a bit smaller than the resort's other facilities and reach capacity during peak times, but no matter where you stop in, everything is incredibly nice. But while its Rockies location might suggest copious quantities of snow, Sun Valley sits in an area that doesn't quite live up to snowfall expectations. The resort averages less than 200 inches of snow a season, far less than competing destinations. The problem is compounded by a modest elevation. Sun Valley sits thousands of feet lower than many Rockies counterparts, resulting in less favorable snow preservation. The resort enjoys powder after snowstorms, but conditions can deteriorate quickly and get crusty after a few days without significant accumulation. This is especially the case in the sun-exposed high alpine areas. While much of its skiable footprint faces north, Sun Valley as a whole is an east-facing mountain, and it's common to see completely bare rock on the unskiable south-facing ridges. This is just not a good look, and it makes the snow cover on the mountain feel artificial and out of place. That being said, Sun Valley still stands out with absolutely incredible views across the resort. Lower and mid-mountain areas offer charming views of Ketchum, which, unlike some mountain towns, still maintains a relatively local and uncommercialized feel. But visitors will really be blown away by the views in upper mountain areas, especially in the bowls. It feels like a completely different world up there, with astonishing vistas of surrounding snow-capped mountain ranges that go on for miles. The mountain occasionally sees different weather patterns at different elevations, and when weather inversions occur, the view down is nothing short of breathtaking. When they're open, Sun Valley's bowls feel one of a kind in and of themselves. These high alpine areas are some of the most beautiful out there, extending across the extensive Lookout Ridge, and to some visitors, they might feel like they go on with no end. The above treeline portion of these runs only lasts for so long, but given the broad range of terrain, it's hard to take the same path twice. Sun Valley is a family-oriented resort, and its terrain arguably suits this demographic well. The resort offers an extensive array of green terrain on paper, with beginner-rated trails off every chairlift. This is incredibly rare, if not unheard of, at other destination ski resorts. That being said, some green trails are pitched fairly steeply for beginner runs, and many of these would, in all likelihood, be considered blues at other resorts. This is especially true of the Seattle Ridge area, which almost entirely features green terrain that will catch inexperienced beginners by surprise with the gradient. Beginners looking for truly easy terrain should be sure to check out the physically separate Dollar Mountain, which is a lot smaller, much mellower, and has green trails that are much more accurately calibrated to the beginner ability level. But despite harder than average green terrain, Sun Valley's blue trails are generally comparable in difficulty to other resorts. Most resort areas offer intermediate options, but the best cruisers can be found off the Challenger and Frenchman's lifts. Christmas Ridge is also home to some incredible intermediate bowl terrain. The majority of blue runs receive regular grooming, but those that remain ungroomed are good practice venues for moguls. On its main bald mountainside, Sun Valley also offers a couple of terrain parks that are tailored toward beginner and intermediate visitors, but for large features, as well as a bigger concentration of features for all abilities, guests will once again want to head over to Dollar Mountain, which has jumps that are over 50 feet tall and fall well into advanced freestyle proficiency territory. When it comes to the advanced skiing experience, Sun Valley offers some fairly steep terrain, and the overwhelming majority of Black Diamond runs are ungroomed trails, glades, and bowls. Few resort areas truly specialize in advanced terrain, but a handful of single black runs can be found off nearly every lift. While these runs aren't the longest in the world, with most of them mellowing out into blues partway down, they tend to develop huge moguls, especially after a few days with no new snow. Despite the Sunrise Bowl expansion a few years back, Sun Valley still isn't ideal for expert skiers and riders. Advanced visitors will find the overwhelming majority of terrain doable, with just a small minority of trails at the south end of the resort boasting true expert pitches. The Sunrise Bowl offers an opportunity for technical bowl and tree terrain, but it's subject to extremely variable openings. And when it is open, the south-facing exposure makes for some of the worst snow reliability of any Rockies destination resort we've visited. If you go to Sunrise Bowl expecting high-quality powder and it hasn't snowed immediately before you entered, you may be disappointed. But while it might not be the best expert mountain in the world, Sun Valley offers a competitive lift network, and it's only been getting better in recent years. Nearly all resort areas are now served by detachable lifts. In addition, Sun Valley doesn't attract nearly the same traffic as some other Rockies destinations, and it's rare to see overly long lines at any one lift, even during peak times. Sun Valley has made some recent enhancements when it comes to the logistics of their lift network. A couple winters ago, the resort removed the two lifts at its Warm Springs base area, Challenger and Greyhawk, and replaced them with two brand new detachables, the Challenger 6-pack and the Flying Squirrel high-speed quad. The new Challenger lift directly replaces both the Challenger and Greyhawk lifts, but it's 20% faster than the old chairs, while retaining a mid-unload station to maintain the same mid-mountain access as the old Greyhawk lift. The new Flying Squirrel high-speed quad runs in a completely new alignment, allowing much simpler and quicker access to points south of the Warm Springs area than in years past. These updates make it much less of a pain to spend time in the Warm Springs area and have helped spread crowds more evenly across the two lifts there. Finally, this past season, the resort replaced its aging Seattle Ridge quad with a brand new 6-pack. That being said, visitors might still find a few minor annoyances with the lift network. While most lifts are high speed, the two lifts providing service to the very top of Bald Mountain, Lookout, and Mayday remain slow, fixed grip triples. In addition, Sun Valley's lift scanning technology is behind the times, meaning that guests will have to have their passes out physically to get scanned. At least it's not too bad to get around Sun Valley thanks to clear signage with lift and trail directions. Some less central areas such as Frenchman's are a bit hard to find at first, but after a few days on the mountain, it becomes pretty intuitive to get around the entire resort. It's also worth noting that Sun Valley is a member of two Mega Pass products, the Icon Pass and the Mountain Collective Pass. This marks a shift from a few years ago when Sun Valley was partnered with Epic. Full Icon Pass holders get 7 unrestricted days at Sun Valley, while Mountain Collective Pass holders get 2. It's worth noting that Sun Valley is not on the Icon Base Pass, meaning Icon buyers will need to upgrade to a full Icon Pass for any access. Consumers should be aware that the Icon Base Plus Pass, which offered Sun Valley access in previous years, has now been discontinued. When it comes to getting to Sun Valley, the resort is among the more remote ski destinations in the United States. The closest airport is Friedman Memorial Airport in Haley, just 14 miles south of the resort, offering seasonal nonstop flights from cities like Seattle, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Salt Lake City, and Denver. For a wider range of flights, Boise Airport is about a 2.5-hour drive away. Sun Valley is also a bit under 5 hours from Salt Lake City by car. Winter driving can be tricky though. US 20 is the shortest route from Boise, but it can be hazardous in bad weather, so many travelers opt for the longer but safer I-84 route when conditions are questionable. Once you arrive, parking is free and relatively easy at both the River Run and Warm Springs base areas, with shuttle buses available to the lifts. Sun Valley's Bald Mountain area sits adjacent to Ketchum, a charming mountain town with lots to do. The actual official town of Sun Valley is a few miles down the road. This area is more sprawled out than Ketchum, although it does boast a nice walking village and it gives off country club-like vibes. Most accommodations fall into the upscale to luxury range, especially within the Sun Valley Resort area, which includes the historic Sun Valley Lodge and Sun Valley Inn. However, Bald Mountain does not have any lodging options directly on site, although the closest condos are only a short walk from the Warm Springs base. Those looking for truly economical accommodations won't have many choices. The cheapest options are Ketchum's 2 Best Westerns, but they're actually pretty nice despite the brand name. It's worth noting that free shuttles connect most lodging areas to the lifts, making it relatively easy to get around without a car. Sun Valley exudes a moneyed upscale vibe, but that doesn't mean there isn't fun to be had in the area. Both the River Run and Warm Springs base lodges offer laid-back opera scenes, with River Run usually hosting live music on weekends. In Ketchum, a variety of bars and lounges, like Whiskey Jacques and the Warfield, give visitors options ranging from casual to upscale. However, Sun Valley's social scene leans heavily toward an inner social network rather than an environment to meet new people, and nobody will mistake the area for a true party town. So Sun Valley is a very solid vacation destination from a customer experience perspective, but it faces a lot of stiff competition from resorts with substantially more snow and larger, more difficult footprints. The resort has remained popular over the years thanks to its extremely loyal customer base, charming town, and upscale amenities, but not because the physical mountain is overtly superior to other, easier to reach Rockies destinations. That being said, lift ticket prices have become a lot more expensive in recent years, and one-day adult rates now top out at a staggering $245. Absolutely no one should be paying that amount for any lift-served ski resort experience, let alone one where snow consistency is a notable issue and neither footprint size nor expert terrain quality are top-notch. These days, visiting Sun Valley really only makes sense if you're a local with a season pass, or if you have an Icon or Mountain Collective pass product. Now let's go through how Sun Valley stacks up in our overall rankings, which are determined by the following 10 category mountain score. This specific score covers the Bald Mountain section. We have a separate score for the beginner-oriented Dollar Mountain linked in the description below. Sun Valley generally sees competitive snow quality for the United States as a whole, but its raw totals fall short of other western destinations, and the resort gets a 7 for snow. Sun Valley offers an extensive snowmaking footprint, but conditions tend to vary quite a bit more than other Rockies destination resorts, and expert terrain is quite fickly open, getting the resort a 5 for resiliency. Sun Valley's Bald Mountain measures in at 2,245 acres, getting the resort a 7 for size. Sun Valley offers a strong variety of terrain ranging from beginner to advanced trails, glades, and bowls, and the resort gets an 8 for terrain diversity. While tough mogul runs and double blacks do exist on paper, true expert terrain is not Sun Valley's forte, and the resort gets a 6 for challenge. Sun Valley boasts a generally modern lift setup, although its bowls are still served by slow lifts. The resort does not require hiking for any of its terrain, and it gets a 7 for lifts. Sun Valley rarely sees horrible crowds and offers lift redundancies at most major junctions, getting the resort an 8 for crowd flow. Sun Valley offers extensive, well-placed, and luxurious lodges, with the only downside being capacity in a few of them, and the resort gets a 9 for facilities. Sun Valley is a reasonably straightforward mountain to get around, with only a few areas a bit hidden due to the topographical layout, and the resort gets a 7 for navigation. And finally, mountain aesthetic. Sun Valley isn't the most imposing mountain out there, and certain parts of the resort can suffer from bare snow cover, but the views of the Sawtooth, Smoky, and Pioneer mountain ranges from the top are hard to beat, and the resort gets an 8 in this category. These categories add up to an overall score of 72, placing Sun Valley 3rd in the Northern Rockies and 23rd in North America. Yes, snow and resiliency are notable downsides for a Rocky ski resort, as is expert terrain, but the resort is able to do customer service so well that it still stays reasonably competitive with the rest of the destination scene. Nobody should book a trip to Sun Valley expecting copious amounts of powder or blood-curdling terrain, but for nice lodges, beautiful views, and a hassle-free resort experience, the mountain certainly fits the bill. If you found this information helpful, be sure to like and subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss any of our content. For more information on Sun Valley and over 100 destination ski resorts around the world, check out peakrankings.com. Special thanks to our Peak patrons, and see you for the next one.